Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to move to approval of agenda 2.1, changes to agenda and approval of agenda. And we do have some changes on consent agenda. Deleted item 8.18, request for fundraising and planning only for a self-help project, Ruckle Middle School, for the design and construction of a baseball locker room at the request of Dr. Bill Smith, Program Director, Facilities and Planning. And then we have an added item, 8.25, Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief ESSER Fund under the American Rescue Plan ARP Act, presented by Sheila Lightbourne, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, and recommended by the Superintendent for approval. And under Superintendent's Human Resource Recommendations, added item 9.10, Employee Suspension. With that, I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move to Section 3, Recognition. 3.1, Proclamation of National Education Support Professionals Day, presented by Superintendent Marcus Chambers. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Mr. Bryant and School Board. It is my honor to discuss today, just for a moment, National Education Support Professionals Day. As you all know, that's going to be on November 17th, and all of us can think back to our school days, and I'll even take myself back to a student, and I can always remember, had a bus driver that always made this lengthy bus drive a more pleasurable one, and I can remember that from my elementary days. And I think each of us in here can think back to the times when we were in school, and you can remember that secretary or that custodian, that individual that made our educational experience even better. And I know as a principal, I could not do what I did at the school alongside our team, without our secretaries, without our custodians, without our paraprofessionals. And it's, many would say that our educational support professionals are the backbone of our schools. And it's something that I think all of us as we visit schools and all of us as we go into classrooms, we see not only the value of what they do, but the absolute importance of what they do each and every day. And we would not be the school district that we are without our paraprofessionals, without our secretaries, without our bookkeepers, without our ESE aides, without the custodians, without our food service folks, and the list goes on and on. We would not be the school district that we are today without these valuable employees. And just want to say from the bottom of my heart, and I know our board, I'm sure will have some words as well, just want to thank each and every one of you who are here today, and of course the thousands that are not here, for the work that they do each and every day. And we do have a proclamation that I would like to read, but before I do that, some of you may have some words as well.
I would just definitely echo what you said, but certainly as a school principal in 3 of our schools and as a district level person as well, but you really can't see the significance of what they do every day because some of them are almost invisible. They do their job without asking for pats on the back. They are the first to greet our students to get on the bus. They are sometimes the last to see the students as they let them off the bus to go home. They set the tone for their moods during the day. They support them throughout the day, whether it's a secretary or an aide in the classroom or an interpreter. They're just so very, very valuable. And there's just not enough you could say. I could drone on and on, but I'll give my colleagues some chance and opportunity to speak too. But very definitely highly skilled people in those roles and certainly in tune with our students. And that makes all the difference.
And I just continue that and say that there's no question that our support professionals, and I know this having been a student and a teacher and then later on a principal in the school system, that they really are the backbone of our school system, and they support us and help our kids and our teachers be successful the way they are. And I just appreciate them so much all these years. Thank you.
I might add to what I said too, and you can share this, Patrick, with the others, that in any given year, all of these comments are certainly apropos, but particularly in the last year and a half, what those support people have done for our schools in this district and the roles they have, it's just been remarkable. So especially during the pandemic, they have stepped up. So thank you.
Ms. Vanchek?
Yes, well, I grew up with a mom who was a cafeteria lady. And so I grew up knowing that importance. A couple people I see out there knew my mom when she was at the worked in the cafeteria. I have a brother who's in the maintenance area. So I think I think a lot of things in life, we don't see behind the scenes and how things get going. We see what's out front, and but that's what makes it go, because without you individuals, we couldn't do what we do in our district. And sure do appreciate you, and have all kinds of respect for what you do every day. And just want to thank you, like Dr. Kelly said, of all times. We thank you all the time, but what you've had to do, and we have shortages in many of the areas in which you work, so you've had to take over some other assignments, and everybody's done it so graciously and professionally, and I truly do appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Ms. Garner.
Well, and again, echoing what everybody else said, I think the word backbone has been used several times, and you truly are the backbone in our schools, and things run very well because of what you do, again, sight unseen. But as a principal, I so enjoyed watching sometimes the bonds that our educational support employees would make with our students. And I think one of you mentioned that you're the first person that when a child walks on the bus in the morning, you're that special person that that student may bond with. Maybe they walked out of their home and things weren't real great, but they see the bus driver smiling, welcoming them, and you've made a true difference just greeting them when they walk in. Cafeteria monitors, I saw many times that the monitors would come to me and say, Susie, Johnny, I don't see they have much for lunch, or they're sitting by themselves. But not only do you help keep things running, it's that bond you also are building with our students that you may or may not even know. So thank you for also doing that, and we can't do without you. We truly, we're proud of you, and we thank you.
And I will finish up by echoing what my colleagues have said here. And, you know, you talk about how teachers and educators make a difference in the lives of students. I can tell you that I had many teachers that I looked up to, but I also had just as many support people that were mentors to me, whether they were the bus driver, Miss Freeman, who was my bus driver for 4 years, all the way through high school, middle school, and high school, or Miss Powell, who was that lunchroom lady who you always had to make sure you buddied up with to get an extra roll there or something.
You didn't do that, did you?
No. But sincerely, they're making a difference in kids' lives as we speak today. And you know, we talk about how important they are, and you're right, they're behind the scenes. And you know, we do truly appreciate all of our support people, because without them, and just like I've been going around and meeting all our support people of the year the last couple of weeks, you know, I explained to them that they're the walls of the building, and without the walls, we wouldn't have a school. So, we do appreciate all of you that are in the support roles. So, Mr. Chambers.
Thank you all, and I appreciate those kind words. And I have a proclamation that I would like to read, and then I'm going to present that proclamation to Mr. Strong, and I'm also going to ask those who are here in attendance with the educational support professionals to come on up. We're going to take a picture as well. All right? So, proclamation. Whereas public schools are the backbone of our democracy, providing young people with the tools they need to maintain our nation's precious values of freedom, civility, and equality. Whereas education support professionals are an integral part of the education process. And whereas education support professionals work tirelessly to serve our children and communities with care and professionalism. Whereas on a daily basis, our education support professionals take great pride in using their numerous skills, which are rooted in human relations, communications, verbal presentations, technical knowledge, use of resources, and positive personality traits. And whereas the educational support professionals in our school district are to be commended for the professional manner in which they perform their duties, they put forth their effort, individually and collectively, to assure that our educational system will continue to have prosperity and success. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the School Board of Okaloosa County, Florida, does hereby recognize and proclaim November 17th, 2021 as National Education Support Professionals Day, and urges all employees in the entire community to join in this observance by expressing grateful appreciation to the educational support professionals for their commitment and dedication to the school system, adopted this 8th day of November, 2021. So congratulations. Mr. Bryant, you come forward.
Mr. Chairman and Board, I wasn't going to say anything, but thank you so much. I couldn't have said it any better. We appreciate y'all.
All right, come on up. That's great.
We need to make a motion.
We have to make a motion, yeah. We don't have board chair. Ms. Rhonda, you're a bus driver, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Will you please tell Mr. Bryant who your English teacher was?
Missy.
Thank you. It's a little private joke.
Yeah, wrote all the school buses.
Chairman, we need to adopt a motion on the resolution.
Thank you. All right, with that, we do need to adopt the motion of proclamation. So with that, can I have a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Dr. White makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, and the motion carries 5-0. We are going to take a recess right now for 3 minutes because we do have public hearing at 6:15. So before we get into visitors and public comment, I want to make sure we have time to do our public hearing tonight. So we'll call this meeting back into session. And school board members, if you would, please go to section 17, public hearing 17.1, public hearing for adoption of revised school board policy 02-17, purchasing procedures, presented by Julie Perry, interim chief financial officer, budgeting director, and recommended by the superintendent for approval. Is there anybody from the public here wishing to address item 17.1? Hearing and seeing none, I need a motion to approve.
I'll I'll move it.
Ms. Gardner makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries 5-0. So now we'll go back up to section 4. And this is the visitor section, and we do have one visitor tonight, section, item 4.1, Mr. Chad Ellinger. Mr. Ellinger, as you're coming up, Mr. McInnes, would you go over the rules?
Yes, sir. Visitors and speakers tonight will be allowed 4 minutes of speaking time. We would ask that you please state your name and address for the record before you begin your presentation. Your remarks should be addressed to the chairman when possible to do so. Items pertaining to personnel matters are under the responsibility of the superintendent and therefore are not routinely heard by the school board. And visitors and speakers at the public meeting are asked to present themselves in a respectful manner. And Mr. Chairman, that would conclude our rules.
All right. Mr. Ellinger, you have 4 minutes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Chad Ellinger, and I live at 708 Nutmeg Avenue in Niceville. I appreciate a little leeway and understanding tonight because I'm temporarily handicapped and I had some negative side effects from a medical procedure. I'm not able to read and speak as normal. I stand before you again requesting action from the school board to resolve issues related to an incident that took place at Ruckle Middle School on 20 September 21. I've attempted to resolve the issue multiple times at lower levels, and the school continues to ignore my appeals for due process. My 13-year-old child has been the victim of a sexually related crime on school property. He was accused of exchanging inappropriate photographs on his cell phone with another student. My child did not take or send any pictures on school property. He did not even have his cell phone with him on the day of the incident. The girl that he exchanged photographs with maliciously distributed my child's picture to multiple other students at the school. While talking with another student, he made a comment that was reported as a possible threat. The comment was investigated by law enforcement and it was determined that there was no threat and there are no pending charges. The school, however, is continuing to discipline my child as if he were a serious threat instead of the victim. The school has never offered for him to see one of their counselors or other mental health professionals in order to help him deal with what has happened. Currently, the perpetrators of a serious crime continue to attend the school while my child, the victim, has been removed. The school has failed my son by not properly investigating the incident, and it continues to harass and discriminate against my family based on his gender and a prejudice against gun ownership. School administrators have falsely stated on reports that my son has direct access to firearms. This is simply not true. My son does not have access to any weapons. The administration stated that they have the ability to put the incorrect information on the report solely due to the fact that there were firearms in my home. This is a grievous violation of my Second Amendment rights and in no way based in fact. The school blames my son in writing for the entire incident and has protected the females who distributed my son's photo. I believe that if my child were the opposite sex, this matter would have been dealt with in a completely different manner. Since my last appearance before the board, the school has maliciously filed a truancy petition for unexcused absences and threatened to put me in jail, even though my son was no longer permitted to attend by the school. I've been forced to enroll my child in a homeschool program against my wishes. I notified the school district of my intent to homeschool within the 30 days required by law, and they confirmed receipt of my notification and the date that I began in writing. The dates that they claim my son was absent are after he was enrolled in homeschooling. The truancy petition is active harassment by the school. The district has not lawfully removed my son's right to receive a free and appropriate public education and has forced me to select an alternative option. Florida is a school choice state, and I have the right to send my child to any school that I wish. In December 2017, the First District Court of Appeal issued a ruling that the school's involuntary transfer of a student to an alternative school must provide the procedural safeguards in the Florida Administrative Procedures Act. An assignment to alternative placement by the school is equivalent to expulsion and should be treated as such. If the school desires to assign my son to alternative placement due to disciplinary reasons, you have that ability after giving him a due process hearing in front of the school board. However, in this case, you have failed to do that. The school has not properly followed state protocols, and there are blatant inaccuracies in the reports. I demand that you treat my child with the compassion he deserves as a victim of a crime and correct the situation immediately. I request that you give him his due process or repeal his suspension and referral to alternative placement, expunge the matter from the student record, and reinstate his privileges as a full-time student. I would like the answers to the questions I have previously submitted to the board read at this time and immediate action by the board.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ellinger. Okay. So now we'll move down to section 6, and this will be public comment. 6.1, members of the public desiring to address the school board, Form MIS 5241, public input and/or discussion of agenda items. And we do have one blue card tonight. Kara Marion, if you would please come to the front. You'll have 4 minutes.
Kara Marion, I live in Niceville. This is just an update. Last week and a half ago, there was a newspaper article that was printed after the second police report, which I'm sure people aren't aware of. It was the first review of the first investigation that was done. It contained a lot of inaccuracies and false statements. I am working with the editor of the paper to get that corrected. I also met with the captain over investigations for Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department. They are reviewing all of the evidence in this case. They are also going back and reviewing all of the tapes of the interviews of everybody that was interviewed to ensure the accuracy of the report when I pointed out just a couple of the very large inaccuracies that were in the report. So I appreciate them doing that. The reason I'm here to let you know is that may impact Mr. Chapman's investigation because he utilized the police report as part of his investigation. I've made him aware that I've been in contact with them. I haven't heard back from him, but I just wanted to let them know and let you know. There were some things that were foundational that were left out of the report and that were not mentioned, such as, and the newspaper left it out too, that the teacher not only provided access via Amazon Prime on my daughter's computer of the movie, but she also provided a DVD to the students after the fact. That's very important, that everybody needs to understand that it wasn't limited to the things that she said in her statement. The police are reviewing her statement and the tape interview of that as well. If the statement is as it reads that she gave to the police and there's no corrections to it, we have a large problem with the veracity of her statement. It doesn't get better. I've updated the state's attorney regarding this issue as well, and she was very thankful for that update. I've also talked with the editor of the paper, and if I have to go to the Pensacola executive editor, I will as well. And then the last thing is that I had 2 very lengthy conversations with Mr. Morello over the past week since the teacher has returned. We continue to have issues with the teacher in the classroom, singling out my daughter, and that's been an issue. I also had an issue with other students and parents coming to me about some things that are going on in their classroom with their child, with that teacher as well. I have encouraged them to bring it forward. That's not for me to bring forward. That's not my news to tell. I have encouraged them individually to do so. But I did let Mr. Morello know about that as well. Because I care not only about my child, I care about all the children in this classroom that is exposed to this teacher and the things that she is doing that's egregiously against policy and procedure and what I believe to be against the law as well. And then the last thing is that if this does come to fruition of whatever it is, I just hope that everybody is able to give grace across the board. We have not seen that in the school, and that is very concerning to me. I hope everybody understands that children are children. They don't all of a sudden become adults when they're 18 years old, and it's the responsibility of adults to act accordingly and to be appropriate with our children at all times, especially when parents send our children to school, entrusting them into the care of the other adults, that we would not call people Karens or wimps or the P word or whatever because they cannot deal with the fact that a teacher has abused their position of trust over these children. So thank you. If you have any questions afterwards, I'll be happy to answer any.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have no more blue cards at this time, so we'll move down to section 7, and this is committee and staff reports. This was workshop only. It's in-county travel and out-of-county travel. So now we'll move down to section 8, consent agenda. 8.1 will be the approval of the consent agenda. I need a motion, please.
I'll move it. Oh, go ahead.
Dr. Kelly has a motion. Ms. Gardner, I'll give you the second. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. So now we'll move down to Section 9, and this will be Superintendent's Human Resource Recommendations. 9.1 and 9.2 are information only, so we'll move to 9.3, Employment Separations. I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Vancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.4, Personnel Recommendations. I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll make the motion.
Dr. Kelly makes the motion.
I'll second.
Dr. White gets the second. Do we have any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. 9.5, Employee Transfers. Need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Ms. Gardner makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. 9.6 is Employee Suspension. Need a motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Ms. Vancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Garner. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.7, Employee Suspension. I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it. Oh, go
Ms.
ahead.
Gardner gets the motion. Dr. White gets the second. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.8, Employee Suspension. Need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly gets the motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries 5-0. 9.9 is Leave Without Pay. I need a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Ms. Vancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Ms. Gardner. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9.10, Employee Suspension. Need a motion to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Dr. Kelly makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Second, Ms. Vancheck. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Section 10, Discussion Agenda. We had no items that were moved. And now we are to Section 11, Construction Program Owners Representatives Business. And Dr. Kelly, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a very enlightening meeting this morning, and we did miss Joel Linder being there, but we had Dustin Merritt there in his absence, so we appreciated his leadership this morning. As you know, Task Order 1 is completed, and that has fallen off of our task list, so we are now on Task Order 2, skipping way down to Phase 2. As we said, that one is complete, and we're just completing some gates, and we've only had to be waiting on materials to arrive. So moving on to Phase 3, the final phase of Task Order 2, that is progressing along fairly well, particularly at Bluewater and Walker. Kenwood now is in 3 phases. The first phase is done, and they're working towards the other 2 for completing that project. Bruner, they've completed the outside storefront demo. Destin Elementary School and Northwood are to be completed in the summer. The canopies have 10-month lead times now just to get materials at the moment, so they're working diligently to get ahead of that curve. Task Order 4 is the Baker School kitchen renovation. That is in the warranty period. They are currently moving a few pieces of equipment around at Mr. Anderson's direction, but that should be completed at Thanksgiving. Task Order 5 was the Joe Etheridge Stadium time and materials at Choctaw. That is completed and is in the warranty period with no issues. Task Order 6, Pryor Middle School kitchen. It is in the final drawing stage, and I'll have more for you on that after our next meeting. Task Order 9, repairs to Jack Foster Stadium at Crestview. Slowly but surely moving that one along around the weather. They are scheduled this week for some pull tests, and they hope to be done this week. Task Order 10, the time and materials for Bay Area's emergency remedial efforts. That is completed in the warranty period and no issues this time. Task Order 11, the district-wide sales tax roofing projects, completed at Pryor and Mary Esther with just 4 or 5 punch list items left on each of those, but that should be completed very quickly. Crestview's Building 8C, we've talked about a pretty good deal. That is finished all except the cap sheets on the gym. Next, they will move to the auditorium, and investigate where the water leaks are coming from. They believe to be an inside brick wall, but they'll check that out more thoroughly in the coming week, hoping to have that done by the end of December. Task Order 12, district-wide sales tax construction projects, still in the design phase. As you remember, we had the notice to proceed in February. Task Order 13, time and materials master plan for the consolidated services here at the Central Complex. They are looking to have for us a shareable outline of 2 different options in a window of time of about 2 weeks to us, so that would put it around the 16th. Task Order 14, Fort Walton Beach High School Boys Fieldhouse Roof. Good news arrived this morning about that project. The ISO board, and that's the insulation board, was kind of on hold with all the material backload. So we learned this morning that that is arriving tomorrow and Wednesday, which means this project can now be moved ahead. And then they'll be waiting only on the AC units, hoping also for a Thanksgiving start on that project. Task Order 15 is the gym floor replacement at Davidson, Crestview High, and Lewis, and they are still awaiting the design from the engineer. And we do need a GMP, but that should be to us at our next school board meeting, so look for that one. Task Order 16 is the roofing and canopy projects at Choctaw and at Lewis. Still need the GMP for that one, but they have part of the roof design in hand, and they're working through the design ideas for the front entryway next. Task Order 17 is the roof replacement at Bluewater Elementary and at Walker. Need a GMP for that one as well. Still in the design phase on that project also. And the only additional topic to be mentioned tonight is the Citizens Oversight Committee, and I believe that that date has been set for December 15th. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kelly, and again, we thank you for your leadership representing the board in the
My
construction.
pleasure. Thank you.
And Mr. Bryan, I also would like to thank Dr. Kelly for a great report.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And in addition to that, I'm very pleased, and I'm sure the board is as well, that it appears that we're navigating the supply chain crisis
Yes.
in many, many ways, and we're getting on with these projects. And Dr. Kelly, thank you for your good work on that.
Well, it's my pleasure, and really Titan is to get the kudos for that, because they have seen this coming and they've really worked ahead to look at the tasks that are before us and maybe order
Yeah.
ahead when they can.
Well, that's great. I'm sure we've all heard and seen the reports in the construction industry about the delays, and so being able to move forward is just really, really good. So thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
So now we'll move to Section 12, Information Technology Seat Management Contract, and we have none tonight. Section 13, Attorney's Business. Mr. McInnes, sir.
One item, Mr. Chairman, I would ask tonight the board consider ratifying a bond and disclosure council retainer agreement with the law firm of Bryant Miller Olive, PA, and attorney George Smith. This was approved by the board in 2016, and we would ask you to ratify that tonight so they can move forward with the work on the current COP project and authorize the chairman to sign the agreement.
All right, with that, I need a motion to approve Mr. McInnes's request there.
I'll move it.
Ms. Vancheck makes a motion. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second, Dr. Kelly. Any discussion? Hear none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll move to superintendent's business, 14.1, out-of-state student trip request, and 14.2. Mr. Chambers, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryant, School Board. As you know, on Thursday, gave I'd like to say a wealth of information on different topics. Some of those topics revolved around ESSER 3. I will say today there was another update with ESSER 3, and that update being that there's an extended deadline from now, this Friday, November 12th, to mid-December. So we're looking at that. We're still right now forging ahead with the current deadline and look to complete it, but there is an extended deadline. Just wanted you to be aware of that. Also, we gave some information on Thursday regarding COVID. Still taking that seriously, but our numbers are, even though we'd like to have 0, our numbers are still staying low. Gave you a little bit of information on the Student Leadership Council that we have in conjunction with Mel Ponder, our county commissioner, where our students are creating initiatives both at the county level and at the school district level. So we're excited to see how that's going to continue to progress going forward. Last week, a number of our teachers received NDAIA grants, and those are grants in the area of STEM. And the NDAIA folks raise all of this money from the community, and it's something that is very nice to see. Over $60,000 raised for teachers across Okaloosa, Santa Rosa, and Walton, and over $600,000 raised over the time of doing this grant for teachers in STEM education. So we really appreciate that. Also, give an update on Focus, as we talked about, going from our AS400 term system to a more up-to-date, modernized version of a platform in Focus. So we're going through that process very diligently right now. And then we all know this Thursday is Veterans Day, and I'm proud to say that our schools are planning different events to honor this day, and it's really neat to see what these schools will do honoring our veterans. And so look more for that. And I know on Thursday many of us will be at different Veterans Day events as well. And the one addition I do want to say, had the pleasure to take part in our first visit of what we're calling the CTE Corner, where we're going to each of our high schools and we're visiting different career and technical education programs. And today, Mr. Bryant accompanied me when we go to schools in your district. I want to also invite you all to come if you would. And today we went to the emergency medical responders class. And this is a class where they're working on certain industry certifications that these students can earn that is also going to prepare them for a career in the medical field, whether that be a paramedic, whether that be a nurse, whether that be one day being a doctor. But we had a kind of an open town hall type of a conversation, asked them, what they've learned this year, how these skills are going to go forward with them in the future, what are their plans, what do they like about this class. And the discussions that these students had, if you listen to it, this was a group of seniors. If you listen to this conversation, it was so robust in terms of the knowledge that they shared, how well spoken they were. These were students that some had very specific plans of action of what they're going to do once they graduate. And then there's some who maybe was like me when I was in high school who said, I don't know exactly what I want to do yet. But paramedics, surgeons, nurses. One student wanted to be a soccer player, so that was an interesting choice in the medical class. But all of them had thoughts of what they wanted to do, and they have an amazing teacher, Dr. McKenzie, who's leading the way up there. But just a fantastic class. They have a 100% pass rate from last year, and these kids are getting ready to take the EKG type of the test, and they know that there's a high bar that's already set forth. But the community in this class was just absolutely something to see, and it was a great time. And I appreciate not only this career and technical education class, but just the countless career and technical education classes that we have for our students. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. All right, now we'll move to board members' announcements and requests for information. And Dr. White, I'll start with you tonight, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, just a couple of quick things. Last Friday night, Connie and I were able to attend the football game at Choctawhatchee High School, and it was seniors night. And I was surprised to find out that we still qualify as seniors. Maybe not in the same way we did 51 years ago, but anyway, we had a great time. It was a great event. And then finally, just to give best wishes to the Choctawhatchee cross-country teams, as they will be competing in the state cross-country championships, I believe, this Friday. So good luck to those boys and girls. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. White. And Dr. Kelly.
Well, thank you. So following up on a comment I had last week, and one of our colleagues asked about, could we see something in writing? My idea was, let me just first set my intention in looking at perhaps considering down the road sometime, or maybe not, but just to think about, to set my intention for us looking at a different version of the way we meet. Currently, we meet either in a workshop or in a meeting every week. We have a meeting every week. My intention is not to dilute our meetings, not to reduce the number of our meetings, and certainly never, ever to make the members of our public feel that they're not encouraged to come before us. Everything would still be exactly the same it is now, with the exception of we would flip our Tuesday and our Mondays. By doing that, your workshop would be on Monday, followed by the Thursday meeting, which would be all in the same week. Our business would not go across a weekend, and you know, many things happen on the Fridays after we meet, or the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then you would have a week available to do other things. Then, the next week, you would have your Monday workshop, followed by your Thursday meeting. That was all my intent was to do. It was to look innovatively and creatively, and if you know me and have followed my career, you know that that's all I've ever done, is look in a system-wide way of trying to be better if there's a way to do that. So, for instance, you might look at the very thing we're looking at right now that was on the agenda tonight, consolidating district services to one central location. That was my idea, a plan to do that. One time in my career, I took the tech lab and the training facility that was in a double-wide trailer and brought it right here to the meeting room we're in right now today that used to be surplus. I've just done a variety of things like that. That's just a couple of them over my career. So this is no different, just looking to be a little bit innovative and not just to say, let's change for change's sake, but let's just look at it. So I've given you a hard copy, both in the shaded variation that we have now on our school board website, and I'm a calendar person, so I actually wrote out by hand an old-timey calendar so that you could see it in that form as well. Not saying it's perfect, it was just a light touch at it as I had a chance to do it. So take that and look at it at your leisure, maybe talk to some members of our district staff who might be impacted and see what they think. Get their input, and feedback. So there's that for you as promised last time. Then on my other announcements, just to say that I attended a Women's Lead conference put on by the Okaloosa County Status on the Commission of Women. And LEAD, if you don't know, the Women's Lead Summit stands for Leadership, Education, Advocacy, and Development. And it was really very well done. The three speakers of the day were Honorable Ginger Madden, Honorable Carolyn Ketchel, and a woman from the Pensacola Haas Center who gave some phenomenal statistics. Out of that, one of the things that they touted was for us to learn more information about the human trafficking situation and the fact that Okaloosa County, being situated along I-10, is really a hotbed for that. They offer an online course that you can take that is really phenomenal, an awareness, and at the end of it you get a certificate that you took it, and you will be certified to say that you are a valuable observer. You now know what to look for. I would recommend that everybody take it. If you're in the public venue at all, certainly educators, we would want to be informed about that. So that was very well done. So kudos to those ladies that put on the Women's Lead Summit. I saw Miss Ivanchik there. She had a table with her calendars on it. So I know that you're still out there working on the Women's Club calendar.
Yes, I am.
Also, just wanted to announce that the Choctawhatchee Bay chapter of the DAR is celebrating, and they are going to have a program recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, November the 13th at 11 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Park on Okaloosa Island. That looks like that would be a phenomenal thing to attend. And Ms. Ketchel, as you know, has been very involved and very instrumental in the Women's Veterans Memorial Monument at Veterans Park. They are having an unveiling of 6 statues there Thursday, November 11th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That also, I'm going to try to get myself there. I know that will be interesting for us to attend. And then almost lastly, I want to announce another phenomenal thing that happened this week. You know, I work as a volunteer with the Hope Squad, the Teen Mental Health and Suicide Prevention and Awareness Program, and they were just awarded last night the Impact 100 of Okaloosa County $100,000 grant. So that is phenomenal, and kudos to Peggy Brockman and others who have worked and helped on that narrative. So thank you to Impact 100 for awarding that to the Hope Squad. And lastly, we are in day 312 of 365. I know y'all like for me to keep up with the calendar dates, so there's that for you. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. And I noticed when you did the draft, I was showing Ms. Evancheck you used the
I did.
calendar.
That
I
was
was
the
gonna
only
mention.
calendar that I
I
had
appreciate
written
that.
in, so
I appreciate that.
There's
I
a
do
plug right there. I was gonna-
utilize
That's
my
right.
work there. I
That's
appreciate
right.
it.
That's a plug for you.
Ms. Evancheck?
Yeah, good. All right, first of all, I want to congratulate Coach Medley and her team, volleyball team out at Baker. They fought a hard battle Saturday in the regional championship. It came up a little bit short, but as I mentioned, you know, for 19 years, they have been the District 1 champions, and they continue, and they are a young team, so I'm sure we'll come back, and but I was very proud to get to see them Saturday, and they did a great job. I tell you what those ladies do, it's amazing. Also want to send out my respect to our County Commissioner Carolyn Ketchel again on this project. It's been several years that she's been working on this, and it's been a lot of work, and so I'm eager to see that unveiling. And she mentioned in that lead conference the other day that one of the women who has the statue is going to be there. So I'm very excited. I think that's phenomenal. So that's
And one was from Defuniak, I believe.
yes, originally from Defuniak. So that's really good. And then back to sports, my Baker Gators football, they're still in the running playing. They are open this week, but will be playing the next week going into regional play. So we want to wish them well, and also just want to wish everyone a wonderful Veterans Day. I know it's great to have a day off, but do take some time to remember the meaning of that day, and to thank at least one veteran that you see for their service to our country. That's it. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Ms. Evancheck. And Ms. Gardner?
As you mentioned, it is Veterans Day. The students, the district is closed on that day in observance, and would like to recognize all of our branches and thank them for their service, their sacrifice, their bravery, the example they set every day. We do truly appreciate their service. Also, this will be our last meeting before the Thanksgiving holidays, correct?
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. November 22nd through the 26th, Thanksgiving holidays. So hope you can spend time with your family and your friends and take a minute. We have a lot of reasons, a lot of things to be grateful for, and I just hope you can take a minute to think about those. If you're traveling, please be safe. Also, this past Sunday, Fort Walton, the Harbor Dogs in Destin had to take a kid fishing, and we took approximately 300 little ones out fishing on that day. It was a wonderful day. Some of these students from Okaloosa County and some of the other schools, they never been out on the boats. And the Fort Walton Beach High School basketball team, many of the basketball players were there. And they were putting together rods. Several had to go and be chaperones. They were serving coleslaw. They were doing anything that we asked them to do. And I so enjoyed looking over there because they were such role models for those students. And those students, you know, these are 6-foot-something basketball players, and these little bitty ones, and they're just looking at them in awe. And they were so wonderful, giving up their Sunday and coming out there and spending time with those individuals. So again, it's just another example of our students going out in the community and giving back, and we do appreciate that. Also, thank you to our employees that came out tonight. I know it's always a long day, and this makes a long night, and to our guests that come and speak and share your concerns. We are listening, and we do appreciate you being here. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and I guess we'll see you in December, and Dr. Kelly can tell us how many days before the Christmas holidays. It won't be many, will it?
And thank you for your work on this, Dr. Kelly. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah. All right, and I'll just finish up saying thank you to everybody that's here tonight, and thank you, Mr. Chambers. I appreciate the fact that you're going into the schools and listening to the students and getting ideas. Today was just another good example of how much our students really truly believe in the programs that we have out there, and they want to have input. And some of the questions that were brought up tonight, I know Ms. Branscombe was writing all those down, so I'm hoping, you know, we'll be able to show those students that, some of the ideas that they have, we might be able to put into place. But I will say that listening to those students, it makes my heart good to know that these students are going to be going out into the world in just a few months, and their maturity level was above the charts there as far as how they conducted themselves. So it really does my heart good to know that these kids are going to be going out into the world and be productive citizens in our community, no matter which way they go, whether they're going to be the soccer player or the thoracic, cardi, whatever. Yes, that surgeon. So and with that, I do want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving holiday. Please be safe. And now we'll move down to section 16, and this is the 2-minute version of public comment. And we have no blue cards for that. Come on up, you got 2 minutes, and then just please, just.
I promise it's good stuff.
No, it's good. It's
Kara
good.
Mary in Niceville.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I'm a little biased to this because my daughter's a swimmer, but Niceville High School did really well at regionals, both women and men, and we have 8 to 10 swimmers going on to state, which is this Saturday. It will be broadcast. If you go to the FHSAA, they'll broadcast a lot of the swimming there. And then we also had Fort Walton Beach has a freshman. All these kids typically swim together on a USA swim team too, so we know. We cheer everybody on at all of it, regardless of what school. We have a freshman that's going to state this year, and so it'll be some really exciting things to see. Typically, nobody really talks about swim. I know.
Hey, trust me, Crestview just got a
has
team we did talk
I know,
about.
and that's great. And you guys put a heater in the pool up at the Rock, and that
Yes,
was great. They
yes.
really appreciated that. My
Yeah.
daughter used to swim up there, so. But yeah, so cheer all of our swimmers on that are going to state. It's this Saturday too, in Fort Walton and Niceville High School. Have both.
And having been a principal where there was a swim team when I was at Bruner, those kids get up awfully early and go to the pool for practice.
Yeah,
It's
and I think
early
a lot
and foggy.
of people don't understand that they go to pools like we rent them out in the
Everywhere.
neighborhoods, and
Everywhere, the Y, wherever they can find a pool.
yeah, kudos out to the parents for driving their
Oh,
kids.
yes.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
5
Thank
something
you.
in the
Thank you.
morning, they were going,
Yeah.
hitting the roads. Thank you.
And just real quick, we did mention Baker is in the playoffs, but so is Niceville, and I believe they have a home game this coming up weekend against, I forgot who they're
It
playing.
wasn't
but-
Ponte Verde,
But
but-
fortunately for Niceville, they're coming here, so.
And I did mention the sports on Thursday
Yes,
during the
you
workshop,
did,
so
you
I just
did.
didn't want to replicate everything
Right.
tonight.
All right, so with that, this meeting is adjourned.